USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged. So excited you decided to join us today. Before I jump into the podcast, go over and leave a 5-star review. We really love those reviews. Leave some comments. I read all of them, and we would really appreciate that. But before we get started, I definitely want to give a big shout out to our two sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market, bar none. Mention Coach Unplugged, you get $450 off, and you'll get the best customer service you'll ever expect. Just mention Coach Collins, and they'll take really good care of you. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It is the one-stop shop for basketball coaches. It's something. You know, when I started teachhoops.com, it was what I would have wanted as a young coach before, you know, all the state championships and all the nationally ranked teams that I've coached. And not to brag, just to kind of tell kind of my journey, I would have killed for this stuff because it would have made my life so much easier. A little bit of everything that you need to become a better basketball coach. And we are the only people out there that offer a 14-day free trial because we believe in it so much. Follow the roadmap, work on your craft, and you get me one-on-one mentoring. So I can't imagine anything better than that. I don't know. Anyway, go over and check it out, and let's head off to the podcast. Join us.
I'm going to go through the questions people have sent me, and then we go from there. Someone jumps in. That's great. If they don't jump in, then it will be just me talking to you, the listener. Whoever's listening at this point, if anyone's ever listening to this. So if I look over to the side here, it's because I'm grabbing my sheet here. So the first question was about running combination defenses. We haven't run much this year, but let me just show you a couple things that we do with that. I'm going to pull up the whiteboard, so those of you that are listening to the podcast at this point will be a little different. But so I'll try to describe as well as I can. So here is, so the most common is probably a box in one or a diamond in one, and then you have a triangle in two. We run a lot of 1-3-1 in our program, so obviously we can set a guy up at the top, two guys at the elbow, one guy at the bottom, and then a diamond in one is pretty easy. The drops are the same for the wings. Ball goes opposite, they sink. You have one guy chasing or one person chasing. Top person takes the elbow. Bottom person can go to the bottom person here can go all the way out. So the drops are very similar. If you have an aircraft carrier down here, you can leave them in there. This person can go to the corner. This person can go to the wing. So the side of the diamond can go all the way down. Just kind of depends. I find that more successful, especially since the 3-point line, in defending the three than the box and one. I don't find the box and one quite as effective as getting out and closing out. You know, the box and one used to be great when you didn't have to worry about the 3-point shooters as much. You can do it that way where this person can kind of come here, takes corners. That if you got athletic bigs and they're not as big, you can definitely do that. But And then there are two basic triangle and twos. The first one is two guys at the elbow and a guy at the bottom. That's kind of an inverted triangle and two guys chasing. Bottom guy basically protects the middle. These two, one would go all the way out to the wing. This guy would cover here. Again, how often does that happen? You just got to kind of communicate through that. And then the other one is just your normal triangle and two, where you have two guys on the blocks and one guy's at the elbow. This one, unless you're chasing the two guys you're chasing are shooters, that one's not quite as effective as the inverted triangle and two. So they wanted me, and again, we can come back and re-talk about this for the people that had questions on it and send me questions for office hours for sure. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to grab my sheet and I'm going to look. How do you score against the 1-3-1? I'm not going to tell you all the secrets with that, but just because of this week, we play somebody that has it, and they might be watching or listening. But I will definitely talk about that next week or our next set of office hours. But there are gaps in a 1-3-1 stuff, especially if you can get behind the 3 part, the 1-3-1. If you can get behind that 1-3-1 part, the 2-1-2 is good, and overload is good. I know I've talked about my chair overload. That seems to be an effective way to tackle it. We had a discussion about free throws and kind of talking about how to tackle free throws. And one of the things that I do for free throws, and I found it good, even though we're probably an average free throw shooting team this year, but we call our free throw ladder. And I'll show you what this does. So what this does is it basically, so you have everybody shoot, and I'm just going to erase a little bit of this here. For those of you who are listening, you'll just have to pause for a second and think about the meaning of life. But anyway, so what I do with the free throw ladder is, I'll have them shoot a couple hundred free throws. And then what I will do is I will start a ladder, and I'm going to use this one. And let's say John is number 1. Okay. He's my best free throw shooter, and I can't spell today, but John. And then let's say Sam is number 2. And then let's say Nick is number 3. And then 4 is Joe. Okay, I'm trying to pick easy names right here. And then we go all the way down. Maybe you keep 15 on your team. How many you keep on your team? So what I do is it's a free throw ladder. So the thing about free throws, and there's tons of, I can give you a list of different ways of tackling free throws. I do this as it's a quick, fast way to do competitions. And the object is to be number 1. The object is to be John up here at the top and be the best free throw shooter on our team. And what I've done in the past is if you're 1 and you're on the court, you get the technicals. But anyway, so what I do is if I have an odd number, so let's say we have 15 players, one gets a bye this week, okay, or the first time we play. So 1 gets the bye, and then 2 would play 3, 4 would play 5, and 15 would play 1 just for fun, okay? Then the next week we would have, 1 play 2, 3 play 4. So the object is if you win, you move up the ladder, and if you lose, you go down the ladder. You do not want to be the bottom guy in the bottom part of the ladder. And if you have odd guys, you can definitely work that out at the end, and someone goes over and just makes 10 or something like that. But every other contest, the number 1 person gets a bye because of the top. So they get a bye this week, or they don't get a bye. They get a bye, or they don't get a bye. So if you have an even number, it's easier. But I know a lot of us keep odd number players in our team, so you can work that. But John basically, or the top person, gets the bye every other week. And then it gives a competition, and they don't cheat. I think the biggest part of it, especially how many free throws did you make? Oh, I was 9 for 10. Man. I was 10 for 10, coach. It's like, unless I'm watching them, you never exactly know what or how they're shooting from the free throw line. So I think that's a really big aspect of it. Really communicating to them and kind of talking that way. So that's the first one. Like I said, if people have more questions on the free throw ladders, I can definitely show that to them. So I have tons of that kind of stuff. All right, so let me look. Oh, last thing was somebody asked about tryouts, like a middle school tryout. Where did I put that? I think I put that here. So what I evaluate, so you can do a spreadsheet, you can do all sorts of stuff. I think the big things to tackle here, or what I've kind of written here, is you want to evaluate dribbling. You want to see how they dribble. You want to do probably a stationary dribbling. You want to put a defender on them. You want to do them in a full court. You want to do it in a half court. So somehow you have to evaluate what type of dribbler they are. And I usually I'm a stats teacher, so I tend to use a 1 to 5 scale just to kind of figure out where they fall in that. But you definitely want to see where they fall in that window as far as dribbling. Weak hand, strong hand, moving, not moving. And I just wrote a couple things. I did this in like 3 minutes. This stuff that I think is important. Next thing is you want to evaluate passing. So passing's fine, but passing's different when you're moving and not moving. So I try to get some sort of like 5-man weave where they're having to be athletic, they're having to pass, they're having to move, they're having to do things in more than one avenue. I think that's super important. I would evaluate shooting. So depending on, again, how many baskets you have, I would try to set them up in groups of 3, 2 balls, have them just shoot. You want to see how they're shooting stationary. You want to see how they're shooting moving. So I have some full court drills I do. I have some stationary where they're just in lines and they're shooting and they're getting a rebound, passing to the next person. I just want to see form. I want to see how they shoot, both stationary and both moving. Then I think a super important part, especially when they're in middle school, is how athletic are they. So you can do running. You can do what I put down here, line grabbers. Anything where you can kind of see how athletic they are, how fast they are, how they move side to side. That's not the end all, definitely for a middle schooler. But I think when you're evaluating and picking a team, you definitely want to see where they fall in that spectrum of athleticism. You can evaluate height, you can evaluate things like that by just looking at them. But I think with athleticism, you need to get them moving. And then I think you want some sort of competition. I try to keep it in the small game category, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, where they're just moving and doing, stuff where, you can't hide 2-on-2 and 3-on-3. That's why I think it's, especially for this, I do 1-on-1 in my tryouts even. Because you, as the 13th player, better be able to guard the first player, because you're going to have to do that in practice at times. And how can you do that, and how effective are you at doing that? So the 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, sure. At some point, you're going to do 5-on-5 to see how the entire thing works. But I think you really want to spend some time on those small game things when you're evaluating 5th through 8th grade. I mean, I do it with my guys even. There's things I can't see when they're playing 5-on-5. I mean, if you put me out with 4 NBA All-Stars, you're going to notice that I'm not very good, but that I can hide. It's that kind of thing. So it's really hard to do that when you're playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. So I think those are all really good things to look at while you're evaluating a middle school tryout. So I think I got to all the questions this week that people had sent me. They wanted me to talk about the combination defenses. So, and it's hard when if we can go over these again in the next set of office hours, but talked about how to tackle 1-3-1, obviously that 2-1-2 overloading aside. We talked about the free throw ladder, and we can add to that definitely if people need more things. And then we talked about middle school tryouts or a youth tryout. And I can show you what I do with my tryouts or what I do with my youth program. A lot of the stuff I just sent you is the stuff that we do with our youth program, as far as evaluating and trying to figure out where the kids belong and kind of that. So, so hopefully that was everything everyone was looking for. And if you have any other questions, or we'll meet again in a couple of weeks, send them off to me. You can show up. You can be a fly on the wall. You can just send me the messages and I'll do them. Whichever way is easiest for you. I'm here to help you. And
hey, everybody, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, We love those. And send me an email, steve@teachhoops.com. Tell me what you want to hear in the future. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Have a great day.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Memorial Day doorbuster deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, Rewards members save $80 on the Master Forge 4-burner gas grill, now just $149. Plus, Rewards members save $900 on the Lowe's exclusive Hisense French door refrigerator, now only $999. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change.